Have to unmute, Danielle, please.
Something popped up on my screen. Sorry about that. The meeting tonight is for the conduct of town business by the town board. The public is invited to participate at the items marked on the agenda, public comment. During that segment of the meeting, if you have a question or comment for the supervisor, please raise your hand and wait to be acknowledged. Please state your full name and limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation.
Thank you very much, Danielle. I'd like to start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
United States
States of America, to the republic for which it stands,
one
one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty
liberty,
and justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
Thank you very much. A moment of silence, please, for all our brave men and women fighting all over the world for democracy and freedom. And also for all our first responders, our nurses, our doctors, and our teachers during this pandemic. Thank you very much. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None being said. Motion carried. Motion to approve minutes from the June 14th, 2021 Town Board meeting.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None being said. Motion passed. Thank you. Authorize payment of bills, $500,794.90
Make that motion.
to pay the bills.
So moved.
Howard? I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None being said. Motion carried. Pay the bills.
Excuse me 1 second. Howard, Eddie said that it says it's waiting for host. Do you see him now?
Check. I don't see him.
That's weird. Okay.
Is there a limit on participants?
I think it would be more than 20. I mean, we don't really have, we're paying customers. I did think about, I think we're up to 100 or a couple of hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We should make an appointment.
we have no presentations. Anybody
with
have any
this.
comments on the agenda? Comments on the agenda? Okay. New business. Gentlemen, I have backside zoning change there. So I like your opinion. There's a gentleman that's interested in Mr. Graciosi's place, his property down at Dockside. So he's interested. I haven't, let me rephrase that. I haven't heard from him like in a couple weeks. But still, I would like to get the opinion of the board of what their thoughts might be. As you know, that's industrial, and he would need a code change to change it to R1 or RA1. I think there's something located next to him that he still owns.
Saying, for now, we're not
So
gonna.
it wouldn't be spot zoning.
Maybe we should just get
just,
a yes, so we can go through it.
I don't know who's in the background, but if you could mute, that'd be great. Just a little conversation about that. I think we've been there before with Dockside. I don't know how far we've gotten. There's Ed. How you doing, Ed?
There he is.
I've been better. I can't wait to get back to the regular meeting.
That's gonna happen next meeting.
Is that-
Beautiful. Take my test off there, by the way. Stop testing my machine.
Anyhow.
Thanks, Howard.
So Ed, we were talking about dockside zoning change, what the board would consider a zoning change in there. That on that property, it's zoned as industrial right now. I think the gentleman is interested in putting 100 condos in there. But
Wow.
like I said previously, it's been quiet lately. It sounded like he was gung ho, and now you know how this goes. The market is fluctuating up and down. But we don't have to get into it right now. We could actually just digest it, and we could talk about it at our next meeting, which will be in-person meeting. So would you?
That'll be the 12th, right?
Excuse me?
That'll be the 12th?
Yes. So it's the second month.
That's one of the last industrial zones we have, right? Correct?
That is correct. That is the last industrial.
I mean, even though it is a very hard spot to get into for an industrial type project, I mean, I think you're headed on the head. I think something we should digest and think about. And then,
Well, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
I want you to think about it. And I know we've had conversations in the past. People have been interested and then somehow they disappear.
yeah,
You know, we've done code changes before, and to make sure that it's not spot zoning. that we,
Yep.
And there's a fee that goes along with it too, with lawyers changing. So I just
And-
wanted to bring that up because it's. Yes, sir?
Question for you. We don't have the capacity right now for that down there and the one we approved up on off Birchall Avenue there, do we? In our sewer.
We have the capacity for the bay side, but we
Right.
don't have the capacity for the dock side.
Right.
So I think they're partially, maybe not even in the sewer district. So we would have to check with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest things, but I also believe that with their paying into the system, both projects, let's say both go through, that money would assist towards the expansion of the current sewer plant. So it would-
Right.
Yeah, as
Right.
it stands right now, the bay side is in some kind of talks with a developer, and we don't know if it's gonna happen or not because it's all depends on an IDA, and
Mhm.
they're very tough to get for rentals.
Yeah.
So whatever happens if they do pull a trigger, then they have a month to come up with $100 and some thousand for the first phase to get into our sewer district. So it's 300,000 as they progress. It's a progressive thing in the contract. So you are correct, Alan, in saying that, and we'll have to looking forward and talk to Dennis Larios and see if this individual is serious. Then we would have to get serious about what the charges would be. The same thing we did with Bayside.
It's also the impact on our school district too, would be pretty,
Yeah.
two big
But
places.
we
like
also
that.
kind of went through this with the original project and what
Right.
the school district, I believe, didn't have any opposition because they basically know the calculation. It's going to be 100 units, but I think didn't the school, and refresh my memory, guys, the school only expected to have between 19 and 25 additional.
On the
Bayside
Bayside project,
project.
Yeah,
The Bayside project, yeah, but I don't know.
Bayside project.
Bayside, yeah.
The school population is predicted to decline over time, just like every other school district, so.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know
what the
if that's-
formula was these units or these, this housing is typically for young married adults, they just were married or just got married and they aren't starting the families yet. So the school district didn't feel a great impact. They weren't really scared of it.
This.
But I'm talking about both projects at the same time.
Yeah, so if you use the same formula, you'd be talking what, 50 additional pupils? You know what I mean? So
It's spread across 12 grades.
We're
Yeah.
at the junction where that has, I think that the previous
Right.
administrations actually did a
Study.
draft of the environmental assessment. So we would have to look at that, and we would have to look at all those issues that were brought up at the public hearing. So I just wanted to give you a heads up that if it does happen, and so we'll talk about it at the next meeting on the
Okay.
12th. These are all good issues that you brought up, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
The gentleman that we talked to, Al, a month or two ago, was proposing pretty high-end condos there, so probably not too many children, $500,000 to $600,000 condo type,
Yeah.
2 or 3 bedrooms.
Don't they have to show a percentage of affordable housing also?
Well, there is workhouse, like a 10%.
No.
Bayside chose not to do that. So I don't know about the other individual. So it's all up to the application, the applicant that's person purchasing it, and what's his thoughts. And then there's always, what we always do is we have a gateway meeting with Dennis Doyle up at the county. We iron out a lot of things with DOT, but like I said, there's a lot of issues there. But basically, I'm waiting for somebody to pull a trigger, so this way we could act one way or the other. So,
But the developer hasn't purchased the property yet, right? They're just interested in the property.
Mr. Gracios.
Right, okay.
And on the Bayside, we're still working, they're working with the IDA and Ulster County. So I haven't heard anything from both projects.
Yeah.
I said.
Been going on since I was on the board.
About it and digest about the change, code change for dockside, and we'll discuss it in length at the next meeting. If the individual doesn't get in touch with me or Howard, but we will have discussion anyhow and move forward. Thank you very much.
Sounds good.
So I think everybody here is for the B for the farm market that was discussed at the last meeting.
I'm gonna go through things with everybody here. I have
Okay, hold on, Ed. Could I finish, please?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So, yeah, so a lot of people are concerned about the remarks that were made at the last meeting by the legislator Thomas Corcoran, and also by the board members. And so I kept on saying that we should talk to Sheila, but we kept on going. Anyhow, it was pretty hard for somebody not to defend herself when she wasn't here. So me and Ed being the liaison, we met with Sheila. So I asked Ed to do a report, and he's going to do one right now. I thought he was going to send an email to the board, but
I'd rather talk.
Okay, I figured that.
This way I can answer any questions anybody has.
I appreciate it. So go ahead.
Okay, so, all right, so we start off with, it's not a true farmer's market and charge local farmers. She said that the local farmers have no problem with paying that little bit of $20, whatever it is. And it goes towards their little pamphlet that advertises for all the farmers in the area and all the wineries in the area. Anybody that's got a business that's with me in Marlborough. Second thing was taken was she has cookies taken away from the local bakery. Well, she's offered Frida's, she's offered Comparettas to go there first before she had anybody else go there with baked goods. Now, Comparettas and Frida's are both in their advertising, the little pamphlet they have, but they said that it wouldn't be worth it taking somebody out of their place to go there to sell. They'd rather have them stay in their own place and sell from there.
Just to interject that the couple of times I've gone, Frida's back at the farm market.
So they are, but they weren't done yet.
Yeah, they were there last week when I went. So they're selling dog goodies and other items.
Well, that's good. Okay.
Yeah, so they're back.
Good. Second thing was insurance companies. Well, they have Metropolitan sets up little things for the kids to play. I don't know, whatever it might be, and that they do it, and they're not, not advertising wise. It's basically any insurance company locally. She said that wants to ever come up there and do things can do it. She's contacted them and everything like that, and they don't care to do it. Metropolitan goes out of their way to do this in all different communities. The other thing was distillery from Wappingers. And what happens with the distillery, and you know as well as I do, the local wineries are very beautiful wineries, and they'd rather work at their own place and have people come. She has talked to every winery in Marlborough to ask them to come down there. And for the most part, they just feel that they'd rather be up at their winery, selling their wine from their wineries, not down at a farm market. So that's what was the answer. That was the answer she gave us for that. Correct me when I'm wrong, Howard, okay?
Al?
Al, I'm sorry. She said we've also gotten complaints about the traffic, and Al was he was meeting with the chief. I didn't see what happened between that, but that was the only other issue that we had that I have written down here, is that the traffic situation. Now, she says that they come out to one road and it's really blind if you're south of there. If you come out the road where it is only single lane. So I don't know. I haven't gotten any complaints about it, but Tommy would get the complaints before I would. So what did the chief say? Al.
So I'm gonna let the chief talk. We actually went there the following day. We looked at everything and chief?
So I went back and looked. There's no reported complaints, no reported accidents in that location. Back when the farmer's market was first started, Sheila and the organization used Gil, who was our traffic guard. And I want to say he might have volunteered his time, and he did the traffic in the upper parking lot. He set up the cones, he blocked it off, he didn't allow any usage. Since Gil's passing, I don't think we've used a traffic guard up there for the farmer's market in many, many years. So as far as I understand it, every Saturday, Tom sets up cones. They're equally spaced out along the side of the road, more to bring attention that there's something going on, not to block off either lot. I have noticed that the lots are being used. Like I said, though, there has been no complaints in regards to either near traffic collisions of any type, or parking, or any type of vehicle and traffic complaints on 9W that have been reported to me through the police department.
Okay, thank you. The other thing was Tom putting the cones up. He does not get paid for that. He volunteers that. She said he won't take any money for it. Sometimes they'll give him fruits and vegetables. He sometimes will take those, but he does not get paid to put those cones up every Saturday.
So, Ed, there was accusations made that it's a flea market by
Right.
Councilman Koenig.
It doesn't matter.
That's misrepresented because it's not a flea market. Everything up there that I've been going up for the last 3 weeks have been, there's no TVs or anything like that. It's fruit, vegetables, goodies. I met Mrs. Porco up there. She has a flower business from New Paltz. We talked about the passing of Joe Porco. It's unfortunate, COVID. So I didn't see anything where it was a farm market. It was bought some syrup, bought some cookies for the dog, and some carrots from Hepworth's. Basically, a lot of people go up there because of Hepworth's, because of all their fruit, their vegetables. There's a fruit stand there too with fresh cherries and stuff like. I'm very impressed with the market. I've always been very impressed with it. I think it's run well. I think it's unfortunate that we're in this situation now that we're talking about it. It could have been easily discussed prior to the meeting. I thought that we were unprepared. I think a little call to the chief would have been cleared the traffic situation up. So I don't know what stirred this up, but unfortunately we're here now. So anybody else want to talk about the farm market? Just raise your hand. Tim, unmute yourself.
I look like I'm unmuted, Al, and I am glad that you reviewed the meeting with Sheila and the points of interest, because there was a couple of things on there that I had heard. I was unfortunately not part of the meeting last week when that was announced, but I would like to speak out to the simple benefit of the market in Marlborough. First of all, the visibility has been pointed out by Paul Ryan as being a very successful event handled in this community, and he has praised Meatman in Marlborough for doing that. On the vendor issue, I think it's short-sighted to point out vendors that are not from our area, because so many of our farms and businesses go to farm markets in other towns, even other counties. And it just doesn't make sense to criticize our farm market for letting people in from other places when our townspeople are going to other markets to sell their goods. It's, you know, it's just fair. It really is. I have been a vendor at the market. I sold T-shirts for the Milton Landing to raise money for us. I'm wearing a T-shirt that I bought from Emma Rifkin, who is doing T-shirts and selling them there to help support her path through college. I just want to point out that mums are sold in the fall to raise money for scholarship. And I want to praise Quimby Farms, Hepworth Farms, and Woodwood Farms, all for being there consistently to give us the variety of foods and products that are not generally available in this area easily without driving to another town. I was worried about the traffic remarks. And one of the things that concerns me about that area in general is the speed of traffic on 9W. I know it's not the town's responsibility, but we remark regularly driving home from our jobs across the river, how fast drivers drive on that road. And when they want to get somewhere, you're going to see somebody going 70, 75 or more down that road. I would wonder and suggest, is there a way to put some kind of sign, particularly on the southbound lane, saying a flashing sign or something that says farm market in process, slow down. And as far as the funds are concerned, I spoke to Sheila at length about that. For the amount that each farmer pays or each vendor pays. And again, nonprofits don't pay a penny. I think that the funds are very beneficial for Meet Me in Marlborough to do the marketing and the campaigns they need to do to support it. I would point out Queen City Alcohol Brewery, whatever you want to call it, all of their product, it's a partnership with Prospect Hill Farms. All of their product comes from Prospect Hill. It's a Marlborough business. Whether it's brewed in Wappingers or not, the product comes from Marlborough. So, you know, it just seemed unfortunate that problems were raised and questions were raised with little to no background and little to no investigation prior to coming up. I fully support the farmers market. My 84-year-old mother-in-law loves going there every single Saturday to get her vegetables. Jerry Greco greets us every single time. Sheila greets us every single time. They sell fruit from Locust Tree Farms. It's a great thing. Thank you for my 2 minutes.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Appreciate your input. Somebody else?
Well, I just want to say that after talking to Sheila and her explaining all the situations and now you telling, my biggest concern was the issue of parking and going off 9W, because I know that area. We've had a couple of fatal accidents there before. And that was my biggest concern. And if the chief says he has no reports and nothing like that on there, then I'm okay. I was always okay with everything else. Like when we were at the meeting, I told you that I was. But as far as the traffic, if he's saying there's nothing, if they're not reporting stuff to the chief of police, I mean, that's the guy that's going to get something if somebody has a problem there. I would think. So I'm okay with everything.
Christina has her hand up, just so you recognize her.
I just said I went to the meeting with an open mind, and I was happy with the answers I got.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. Christina?
Unmute yourself, Christina, you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. I'm running the kids around for karate and everything else tonight, so I apologize. I am in the car. I just want to take a few minutes to remind everyone that this farm market is called Heart of the Hudson Valley. And I do see a lot of unconscious bias here happening in Marlborough in general. It disgusts me. I would like to see a town where we have diversity and inclusion. We need to be more open-minded. We are living in a silo here. If we cannot welcome other farmers, other vendors, other people to come to our town and promote their business here, it aggravates me to no end. I see this constantly. And I want to let everyone know that was involved in the nonsense that I am a taxpayer who is disappointed in them. It was not handled properly, and something like this should have never ended up in the newspaper. That's all. Thank you.
Well, I want to respond to that. We had nothing to do with that being put in the newspaper. And I've considered myself very open-minded when it comes to this town. My family's been here since the 1700s. So I invite anybody that comes into this town with open arms. But when someone has an allegation, as a board member, myself and Al had to at least investigate it, even if we thought it was unfounded. We have to investigate it. I don't know why it got in the paper, Al. I have no idea about that.
Got it, paper. Yeah,
The reporter
I'd
was
like to
here.
say,
She can put whatever she wants in the paper. We don't have no.
I know. I'm just saying. I didn't know she was at the meeting. Maybe that was a meeting I was late at
Well,
because I got stuck at work. Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay.
I think I can explain why we're here and why we're talking about what we're talking about. And I
Well,
think if
we also
everybody goes
have-
back and looks, and if everybody
other
goes
people
back
with
and
their
looks at
hands
that
up.
meeting, nobody on this board is against a farmer's market. Nobody's against inclusion of outside. What we were didn't have any communication. You know what set me off is that they're collecting money on town property. They're not letting us know. If it's going to their journal, if it's going to their advertising, that's fine. We didn't have any open communication with Meet Me in Marlborough. Meet Me in Marlborough is invited to every single meeting to report. Okay. And sitting here as a councilman, as we all are, we are responsible for this. All right. So if there are, people coming up and complaining that, hey, I have this, there's a problem here and there's a problem there, and there's a problem there. We don't know. As a board, we were kind of blindsided by that. We weren't attacking Meet Me in Marlborough. We have to protect the town. And when I hear that money is being collected, which is fine, but when I don't know about it, is it fine? Are they a 501c3? I'm sure they are. So I wouldn't have a problem with it if we would have known about it. So all this stuff started popping up all at once. Right? Was the article well written? I don't think so. But again, it sells newspapers. Nobody here, I am not against the farm market. I've never been against the farm market. But when I look back at what the original idea of the farm market was, that was a little bit off script. So I think what happened was it went so far off script that as a councilman, I now have to start asking questions. And that's what it boils down to. We weren't in any way or form shaming the market. But what we lacked was communication. So I'm glad everybody showed up. I'm glad people support it. I'm glad to see it busy when I drive by it. But we needed to be communicated with. And that's why we're here. Sheila's not even at this meeting. She runs it. I believe Judy Clark's in charge of it. But Sheila's kind of, she runs the market.
Just to make sure, Judy is the president of Meet Me in Marlborough.
Yes.
She doesn't run the farmer's market.
But
The farmer's market and Meet Me in Marlborough are loosely coupled. They're really not joined at the hip. Loosely joined at the hip. Okay.
There's another lack of communication then, Howard. That's what I'm saying. I figured it was
where's the lack of communication? This has been going on for many, many years.
A lot of things have been going on for a lot of years too, and they seem to go off script.
So
they're invited to every single meeting. They're invited to every single meeting to come and give a report. We invite them. They come. The last time they were there, we were talking about a cruise ship, which is great. A great thing for Milton and Marlborough. It is a great thing. But we were never updated about any of this farm market.
What was there to update you about, Alan? I don't get that.
Collecting payments, Howard?
That's been going on for years, I think.
Did we ever know about it?
You're talking about $20. You're talking about a $20 bill.
You're making a mountain out of a molehill.
Hold on.
Christina and Al, with all due respect, it doesn't matter about the monetary amount. It matters about if it was being reported. Auditors don't care if you collected $1 or $200. They don't care.
Hold on, Howard. So the legislator brought to the point about all the issues that somebody brought to him. Instead of usually what we do is we talk about it prior to that. Everybody was blindsided by that whole event. So what I'm saying is we didn't have Sheila there to answer all the questions. We could have handled this a lot better as a board. I kept on saying, let's wait for Sheila. Let's wait for Sheila. She probably could tell us more about it, but we didn't. We went off the handle. We were making accusations. I wasn't, but it was just an assumption of what was going on. So I think we could have handled it a lot better. And this board usually does. So I was kind of shocked by the whole thing about all of a sudden, almost like an ambush about the whole thing. I think I
don't think it was an ambush, Al. That's a strong word, Al. It wasn't an ambush. Come on.
Well, that's what people
really
are telling me.
Now you have other people.
Tone it down.
People that have their hands up that would like to say something, probably.
Yeah.
I think Joe might have been next. Joe Caserto? Mr.
Joe?
Caserto?
Mr. Thank you. No, I wanted to voice my support for the market and also thank the board for resolving this hopefully, because it really is a huge asset to the town. You know, every time I go there, I used to go with my late mother, who many of you know. Every time I go there, I meet somebody who knew her, who said they love her. It's like she comes alive a little bit. My neighbors, Chip Kent, who has a stand there, I see him sometimes. And I think it's really a great asset to the town. You know, the one thing I wanted to say was, I believe Chip, I don't know if Chip is still on the board of Grow NYC, but he was, I believe, at one point. In New York, Grow NYC, they do call their markets green markets, farmers markets, and it's not atypical for there to be vendors at a location like that. So, you know, as far as the traffic, I agree with everything everybody said. I was wondering if there might be a different way to configure the cones to make it a little bit more safe, maybe to not have them spaced as far apart if people aren't supposed to be accessing some parts. I know that there's sometimes on that hill by where you go up to the town park, it's not terribly ADA accessible. So I know that sometimes people will park more on the flat area, and I think those other lots might be easier. As a driver, I've often wondered, would it make sense to take those cones as you approach past Milton Hardware away from the shoulder so people can move out of traffic and make that turn rather than make it from the right-hand lane? I don't know if that's actually legal traffic-wise. The chief could speak to that better than I do. But and also, as Tim said, the signage, it could maybe be a very easy fix to just say, you know, please slow down, exit here, enter here, you know, make up some signs to do that. So, and that's all. Thank you.
So I think a lot of that, that stretch of 9W, the whole stretch of 9W is bad. We actually had a bunch of, how many years were we dealing with the OTL? Remember the survey? It was like 5, 6, whatever, maybe 3 or 4 years. It's their road. So this, you know, the flashing sign with the farmer's market ahead, that would be great. And it's something that DOT needs to be approached about in reality, because it really is their road, you know?
I think Diana wants to speak.
Anything to say about that, about the suggestions? You know, it's pretty difficult in that spot because you really can't cut off that south entrance like we were talking, Chief, right? And, you know, people will actually stop there and picnic and go fishing. They actually use that spot. But when I was there last Saturday, a lot of people do use the entrance off the park driveway. They park in there. I'm thinking, is there any way to make that situation a lot better so they can get out of the park? You know, that road where you either could go south or north. Maybe we could look at something like that. I noticed that when back in the day, when we actually did the road cut with Chief Pfeiffer was there and Gail Apper, our highway superintendent, that we cut just a certain portion of the you know, the road there, so you could get onto the lawn. Maybe if we made that longer, so this way, if somebody's coming in, somebody else could go out. Maybe we could look at something like that. We look at it with John Alonji, see what he thinks. I'm done.
Let Diana speak, and then maybe.
Hi, how are you? I just wanted to speak. I know Sheila doesn't like to talk, and you know, I know she was upset about this, so I told her that I would just, you know, plug Meet Me in Marlborough. You know, she's been doing this. She's the welcome wagon for the market. She has the booth set up. She's got all the flyers. You know, I don't go to the market every week. My husband, Sean, does. He's met people that just moved in from traveling. He's talked to them. Sheila tells them where to go for different stores and restaurants and other farms that aren't there. You know, I mean, she has done so much. And I just went on to the Meet Me in Marlborough website and the brochure. I mean, 50, 60 of our businesses, you know, with links to it. it is such a good thing. I think besides maybe the parking and the cones or whatever, it's really a non-issue. It's going to be considered a farm market. We have our farms there. People come, I think it kind of got out of hand for whatever reason, but maybe if we help with the traffic, or if, I've never seen an accident there. Sean has never seen one. There hasn't been any, but I could see people getting a little nervous pulling in and out, but really a non-issue. So, I just hope we kind of can see what we need to do to move on from this, because I think it's just a non-issue. I don't.
I think the biggest problem with the pulling out is making the left turn from the south side of the park. You don't have any sight and you're going across 2 lanes. That's the biggest problem. I think if we put a sign there that says right turn only, and they're just going to have to go right and go out that way, I think that would solve the problem. But there hasn't been an accident, thank God. But I've seen close calls when I've been up there, and we had a couple accidents right there coming from our picnic one year and another one after that. So it has been a problem right in that area. That's why they made the turning lane now going into the park. You go to the left, it's a turning lane. It's not 2 lanes all the way down.
I mean, to just follow up on the point is, I think this has gotten to the point where it's out of hand, because I don't think any board member is like Alan said, is against Meet Me in Marlborough, and never said that, never was against the farm market. I don't know how this got to this point, that people were assuming maybe we were against the market, we were against having them there.
I don't think it was town board.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure people understand that wasn't the case. My only concern through the whole discussion last meeting was the traffic flow. As we know from day one, it was an issue. To say it's not an issue, I'd have to disagree. That is an issue of a spot. Just because there hasn't been an accident, it only takes one accident, and that one accident can be a fatality, and that fatality will come back on us and say, why didn't you do something about it? Like anything else. So I agree with Al in this case. I think we got to get the DOT down here, possibly John Alonji, and a representative from us with the chief, and maybe look at a better egress degress from the park. Maybe we have too many entrances on the side of the road there. Maybe we only need 1 and 2, sort of like Milton Hardware has, right? They have 1 in access, they have 1 out access. Maybe we got to try to reconfigure the park. Maybe we got to get a little better parking up there. Maybe we got to have someone up there like we used to have doing traffic control. And I said at the last meeting, I'm all for us as the town helping pay for that crossing guard. That's not a problem. Meet Me in Marlborough brings so much business into the town, and we all support that. And the only thing I will agree with Alan is on that. We were a little blindsided because we didn't know some of the particulars that were going on. And I think that's where the conversation went off cuff too much last meeting. And I agree, we could have done that behind closed doors more. But, as the board, we just want to be informed that, look, the original intent was this. We decided for us as an organization, we had to move it to this. And are you guys okay with that using town property? If it's not on town property, we have no say.
I don't think the original conception of the farmer's market to what it is now has changed that much.
Oh, it has. It has a lot, but it's okay. It's
Well,
okay, because if you're bringing in other organizations to bring those people in to help sell farmer goods, we're all for that. We're not a problem with that. But the original intent was just a farmer's market, like the old vegetable market. That's what we were told. I'm telling you, Diane, what I was told as a board member when Meet Me in Marlborough came to our meeting, and I'm not saying good or bad, that's what we were told. Now, if it changed, that's fine. We're not against that. So I don't know why everybody's making a rough about it, that the board or anybody's against it.
Because you guys are making an allegation that something's been hidden here, that we haven't told about everything. That's where it's coming from, Scott. Things change.
That's all. That's all we want to do is be informed. Like when I'm out in the public, just like you, when someone comes up to me and asks me, why is this happening, or why, and I have no idea as a board member, I feel awkward to that position. I should know these things. That's all I'm saying.
You say that's a great question. I'm going to find out and I'll get you an answer.
That's what I do say. That's what I do say.
I know.
But what I'm saying is, all it takes is one meeting to come to the town board meeting, like Alan said, every second meeting of the month. Meet Me in Marlborough is on our agenda, and we put them on there specifically for these types of things.
They're on the first.
So you're saying that
we're doing X, Y, and Z. Okay, thank you for letting us know. That's all we want to know. We're not saying we're going to say no to anything. We're not saying we're going to stop the farmers market. No, we're actually here to help the farmers market.
Well, it certainly didn't sound like it last week. And I'm not talking about some of our town board members. I'm talking about other individuals. It certainly was not a helpful tone in that meeting. And that's why it came to a head like this. That farmers market, like every other farmers market, has evolved over time. You go to any farmers market, you're going to see other things other than just fruits and vegetables.
Of
Because
course,
they have to attract people.
we're not blind to that part of it, but we would just like to be informed. of
Okay,
that
so
part.
all right,
That's all.
again,
So Howard, excuse me, I'm just going to pop in and just kind of, retort what you just said. You said there were allegations. Asking a question as a sitting member on a town government.
there are allegations that money
is
being
not making an
collected
allegation.
improperly and not
Not making an
properly.
allegation.
That kind of stuff.
So
Where is that coming from?
this is getting twisted. This is getting twisted.
Yes, by you guys. I'm sorry.
Did you ask question? Because I asked a question.
Who's you
You
guys?
did more than ask
Yeah, who's
questions,
you
man.
guys? And
Okay,
this
okay.
is really, 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 really turning bad.
Yeah.
So who has
I mean,
a
come on.
hand?
I think Mary Beth has her hand.
Mary Beth?
Hi,
Hi.
thank you.
Hi.
So I have just 3 points. I have been to the farmer's market, and I will say, as a new resident in the town, it was very unclear to me where you enter and where you should park. And I had people laying on their horn. And I wasn't sure if I was doing the wrong thing, but I do think some of the suggestions with a sign or a slow down, even to put it in the middle of the road, just to draw attention and to make it more clear where you do enter, because I really was, it was unnerving. So that's my first point, and I support what some of the other people have said. The second thing, in terms of being a councilman and a board member, and I have a long, as many of you do, a long administrative history, over 45 years. And I will say to you that for a board member to say, I didn't know, I should have known, these are allegations. If this Meet Me in Marlborough is to give you a report on a standing basis, they should be on the agenda, and some councilmen should be responsible to see that they are ready with their report as needed. And this all would have been avoided. I think this is poor on everybody's part. If you want to know, then you put them on the agenda and you hold them accountable to give their report. And my third comment is that what was in the paper was very disheartening, and actually it was ugly. And I think the board at this venture, at this juncture, needs to respond and see that some reparation is put into the paper to resolve this, because it was ugly and certainly did not put us into a fine light. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mary Beth, great,
Yes.
great suggestions. And they already are on the agenda. They're at our first, they'll actually be on the next meeting. They'll actually be able to report, and they're actually encouraged to report as a committee. Both Hamlet associations are on there, the landing committee, train station, all those groups are already on there to report, and exactly to what you just said, to keep those lines of communication open. And that's pretty much, I think, what a lot of
when
last
you
meeting was
say-
about.
But when you say, oh, I didn't know, and I wasn't, I didn't know, and they're on town property, first of all, it sounds very adversarial. I will say that. When you start with that, it sounds very adversarial. They're in town property, they're collecting money. It's a we, they, and that is, if they're reporting and on the agenda on a regular basis, then that should have been known. That's all.
Well, they know they're on
Mary
the
Beth,
agenda.
yeah,
Sometimes
Mary Beth,
they don't.
again, if their lines of communication were open, we would have known. I think where, everyone's saying, oh, there was allegations at last meeting. No, there were questions. There were questions and wondering why. The farm market is great. I'm glad it grew. I want it to grow more, but just they have to communicate. This whole meeting is about lack of communication, but when somebody comes to a town board meeting or somebody brings, whether it's myself, Scott, Eddie, Al, Howard, a complaint to the town board in a public meeting, we as elected officials can't say, we're going to talk about it behind closed doors and we'll get back to you. We need to start asking questions from the person. So that's not open government if you do that. And nobody made an allegation. Nobody said anything bad about the farmer's market.
I know, Alan.
Can I make a suggestion?
People use words like shocking and so forth during the meeting. So that was a little.
I wasn't there, so I feel bad.
I'm going to go back and look at it on YouTube, but I don't think anybody's language in that meeting.
Please do, Alan.
Can I make a suggestion?
The only thing I suggested, I kept on saying at the meeting, Alan and Scott and Ed and Howard, you have somebody making allegations about an individual, you should at least have the respect to have that individual answer those allegations. That's why I wanted to stop it and say, listen, let's have me and Sheila and Ed talk. And then, right then we should have just stopped and found out what those allegations were and address it with Sheila. I thought that would have been a proper thing. And, that's what we usually do. I don't know.
But hold on. But we didn't. If everybody here and everybody from Meet Me in Marlborough, and the paper didn't even bring this up. We didn't make any decisions. We discussed. That's called open government. We, as a board, as a group, at our monthly meeting that is recorded, we spoke as a group. When we speak behind closed doors, they're not really recorded. We email a lot, and it's all public admissible, and there's nothing crazy going on. That's open government, folks. That's what we were doing. We were questioning what was going on.
Made to a certain person that wasn't there. I think if the shoe was on the other foot, you wouldn't want to do that.
But we didn't say anything derogatory towards the person that wasn't there. It was at a meeting at a time the questions were brought up, and we had more questions.
Can I make a suggestion?
If you go back and listen to that recording,
you'll
see the tone was a little bit more than just questioning. And
excuse me.
To Mary Beth's point, Mary Beth, I did make a report about Meet Me in Marlborough at that meeting. Maybe it wasn't a good one. Basically, it was a report on a meeting that had been held the prior day by Meet Me in Marlborough at Stout Ridge Winery. And I gave a very good, very high-level summary of what went on. I am the guy usually that gets the phone calls from Meet Me in Marlborough if they have something they want to speak to the town board about for some reason.
Because I
could do a better job, I guess, in reporting these things.
I want to make a suggestion.
Well, but not.
Let Howard finish it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Anyway, it is always on the agenda. At times I make a report if there's something I think the board should know. The whole idea that the farmers market has changed over 10 years and they had to come back and tell us that it's changed. I don't buy that. I don't get it. To me, that's where we got sort of off track and started to question whether it was a farmer's market or a bazaar or a flea market, some kind of, almost derogatory remarks about the market. So that was, to me, the start of getting off the track. So,
just for the record, for asking a question is not derogatory.
Could have been
this whole thing
answered a lot easier without having this public debate. So
can I make a
suggestion? Started by any of the town board members.
Can I make a suggestion? Being the liaison to the Meet Me in Marlborough, I'll get together with Sheila and try to get a report every week written by her. If she doesn't feel comfortable going there, I'll read the report. And this will have a report every week. That'll help the communication, correct, Alan? And then you'll know what's going on. Meet Me in Marlborough. I have no problem doing that. Okay.
That's
Sheila doesn't have to be there. We take.
No, I'll read the report. I'll bring the report.
We read everybody else's report. It doesn't come. So if she's not I'm fine with that.
I'm going to talk to her tomorrow and have her, the second Monday of every month. Please get me a report before that Monday, and I'll read it at the meeting. Okay. Then we'll have some communication.
So, Ed, if you need any help, when I look at the reorg, it says myself, you and slash Howard are liaisons, I guess,
Mhm.
because,
I talked to her a lot on the issue. She's related to me some way. But anyway, so she called me up the first night after it. I didn't know. Remember, I missed the meeting. I didn't get to it till the end, so I didn't know what went on. And then after that, I said to her, I said, she goes, I said, you usually talk to Howard, but I didn't realize he wasn't actually the liaison. And she said she talks to Howard because she considers him a gentleman farmer, so she figures he's part of the whole group, and that's why she talks to you, Howard. That's what she said. And I think if we do have a regular, I don't know if it's from Judy or from her, as long as I get a report, I'll read it every week. I got no problem doing that. And then we don't have a communication problem. Everything that's going on, meet me on, and then real quick, and we'll have a report every week. I will talk to her this week. Okay?
Thank you, Ed.
Yep.
The
Anybody else?
only thing I would ask is what elements in the report do you want to see?
I want to see what's going on, what's new, what's happening. If there's something new, meet me in Marlborough. If there's they're having a gala or they're having
Number,
Yeah.
How many
numbers
tables?
Yep.
I think you should, to Alan's point in communication, I think you should define what elements you want in that report, and not just
I know
the report. And do you want it every week? Or,
No, it's once a month.
Once a month.
Once a month.
once a month is fine.
That's
But I
the
would
report.
encourage you to decide what elements you want in that report.
I will do that. I will meet with Al. I'll meet with Howard too, and we can, between the three of us, we can decide what we want. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Everything was supposedly working fine until 2 weeks ago, though. Does that everybody agree with that?
No, we had issues with the DOT stuff before. I've been there 10
That
years.
were resolved, I thought.
They were, but now they weren't right the way they're being resolved.
Okay.
The way we talked about it. I mean, I'm glad there's no access there. Believe me, Howard, that's the worst that could ever happen. You know what I mean? And I just want to be, if the chief thinks everything the way it is with 3 entrances is safe, I don't. Do I think people should be making a left on the crest of that hill with 4 lanes there? That's a tough thing to do. I'd rather see a sign maybe that says right turn only from here. That would solve the whole problem.
And
You
I
know?
talked to Sheila several times in the last 2 weeks, and she's.
Yeah, so have I. So,
Changes you
Howard,
want.
my phone's ringing off the hook. I know.
I raised my hand again, and I know I spoke once before, but I've got a couple of things I'd
Oh,
like to
wait a
share.
minute now.
Are you sure, Ed? Is that the path you want to
Go
take?
ahead. Go ahead, Tim. I'm kidding with you.
All right. I think Sheila could use a little help possibly from our own highway department in determining the best way for parking there. I know that when you pull in off of 9W on into the park entry, there's a lot of congestion right there around that tree.
Mhm.
Maybe there could be up the road another 100 feet, an enter point, and then the exit point be the current road. She could have signage that indicates here's where you enter, this is exit only. Ed, I do take umbrage with your statement about putting a no left-hand turn sign. If you look at the Dunkin' Donuts in Marlborough, you'll know
Nobody's
that left-hand turns happen all the time. You're not
Yeah, I
going to
know.
stop it by putting up a sign.
No.
And I wanted to say to Mary Beth, thank you, and to Diana, thank you very much for speaking up. Mary Beth, many of your ideas were things that hadn't even occurred to me. So I appreciate your history and expertise on this. I'm done.
So
Thank
I
you.
think Chief will get together with John Alonchi, just look at it right now. He's paving, he doesn't have the time, but maybe before the next meeting, in-person meeting, we could get that resolved. Like I said, when we looked at it, I mean, you're dealing what you're dealing with.
Yeah, understand, any changes made to 9W needs DOT approval.
Yep.
It's not gonna work well. DOT does not like to make changes. They're not gonna put up signs. They're not gonna close off
Just-
entranceways.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
just-
just,
Unrelated to the market, I went by Sunday. They're in the front parking lots. There must
Yep.
have been 60 cars parked in that front parking lot.
Yeah,
No
I saw the
event,
same thing.
no nothing, just a beautiful day and a bunch of families having, I don't know, family reunions, picnics, whatever. But no exaggeration, there had to be 50 to 60 cars up front. In terms of liability, we own a park. Anything happens, we are liable. So whether it's an accident or somebody falls off our swing or gets stung by a bee, the town of Marlborough, if they want to sue, is going to be listed. That's why we have insurance. That's why we have lawyers. I do believe we could do a little bit better with the parking. Al made a great suggestion. that roadway cut that they put in off the entrance to the park itself is narrow. It's difficult to swing two cars in there at the same time. There's a tree in the middle of it. Yeah, that could be worked on. That stuff we could do with John because it's our property. But anything that you're looking at to do with 9W is going to be a huge process through DOT, and they're not going to change 9W for you. We couldn't even get the speed limit lowered, and we tried. Believe me, we tried.
Yeah, I concur with Jerry. We sat and we worked with that committee for how many years? One of
Correct.
the biggest things we said to do was to get rid of the double lanes, put down some islands going down the middle, lower the speed limit to 45. We suggested this, we suggested that, and they put some arrows on the road and made they condensed traffic. It's DOT, it's not town of Marlborough.
Yeah.
I still think it's a good idea to, it's like, if you're gonna have a meeting with John, it's not a out of the question idea to try to have them attend at least. I mean, they might not want to do anything for us, but it is their road. So we're trying to alleviate some
Agreed.
issues on their road. Maybe they, maybe if they don't want to do it, they can give us some suggestions how we can alleviate that in a better
Agreed.
way. That's all I would suggest,
I'll call Dave Kerrigan. He's usually pretty
Yeah.
good about that. So we'll address that. So,
To Jerry's point, the folks at Long Pond parking on Sunday, yeah, there were a lot of folks there. I would guess most of them are out of town. I guess a lot of them came here to visit some of the farms to do the pick your owns. And a lot of them down the road, when I went to get gas, there was not a slot open at the CBD gas station. So they bring commerce to the town.
There was a lot of people there. I saw the same thing. There's a
that's
lot.
a lot of
And
people.
that's what the park is for. I'm glad they're using it.
Yeah,
Yep.
me too. They're better used. Anybody else would like to talk about the farm market? I appreciate all the input that.
Yes, I would.
James
Uh,
Carroll.
Actually, more about the transportation aspects. The main entrance to the park, you really kind of squeezed between the adjacent property, their building, and the pond on the other side. So you have a very limited place where that can be. Maybe you can look at widening it. Maybe you can look at the entrance to the grass parking lot being changed. Those are things you can look at. I don't think DOT is going to care too much about those unless you actually widen the road. What they may be willing to do is, if you look at the other two access points, DOT likes it when you condense and reduce the number of access points. So if you were to find one location where the sight distance is the best, they would probably be very willing to allow you to close the two and put it where you have the best sight distance. The other thing that you should be looking at is the condition of that parking area. That parking area is not in very good condition. And there's some areas there where people just avoid parking because the rock outcroppings are so jutting that I think that's something that you want to take a look at, as well as the entrance points. Normally on a town road, you have a requirement that you have, I think it's 15 feet get paved from the road to the edge of the road to the property. You may want to consider doing something like that for the park. But in any case, I think you should look at the condition of the parking itself and look at whether you can combine those two southern access points into one, wherever you have the best sight distance. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Good input.
Just to that parking area, I've been with the town a long, long time. I think those are parking areas that have been created by the public.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever put those parking areas in.
Nope.
I don't think we've ever maintained them. We don't
Nope.
plow them. We don't do anything. I just think that that's where they
Yep.
park, and that's what decided they're going to do.
That
So-
became a turnaround there, Jerry.
Yeah.
It was a turnaround.
That's
What happened?
correct. So,
Could change it.
just that point. He makes a very good point. But we didn't do those parking areas. They just created
Yep.
them themselves.
Yep.
That's all.
It's a good point, but.
And you may end up closing them both. But if you make a right turn, if you make a right turn only out of the main park area, what people are going to do is make that right turn and do that U-turn in the using the two southern entrances.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, that's I think a problem with doing a right turn is where are people going to turn around? And you have to think about that whenever you do that kind of condition. But I think that DOT, if you decided that you want to make that a formal parking area and improve it, that they would want you to look at maybe closing one of the accesses and putting it in the best possible site distance place that you can put it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, James.
All right.
And then in fact, Alan, you're correct. We spent like a year and a half with DOT, me and Alan and 3 people on the DOT, and we're happy to get it repaved, the 9W corridor, but they didn't give any turning lanes or anything. It was just a repaving job. So maybe we could look at what we actually did, Howard, in that study for that particular area coming out of the park. Maybe we have something there. In the meantime, thank you, James. A very good suggestion. Get a hold of Dave Kerrigan from the DOT, District 8, and with the chief, let's discuss that. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Diana still has her hand up. Diana, do you want to speak more?
Yeah. She has her hand up on the
I
yellow.
know, how
hand.
do I get, let me press a few buttons. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for this discussion, and it was all good.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Diane.
Thank you.
Everybody. So with that being said, I'll move on to new business C. Sorry to let everybody know the Zoom is over.
All right.
Thank God. Thank God.
Eddie's all happy about this one.
Oh, I can't wait to sit next to Al again.
So as per the governor, all restrictions were taken off. It happened really soon, like I said, so I didn't want to pull the trigger on this meeting because I knew a lot of people wanted to come on in Zoom and voice their opinion about the farm market. So that being said, we will be back at the next meeting, Ed, at that's the 12th, right, Ed?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll be in person. We'll check all the computers and make sure the sound system and everything works. I'm going to check with Mike. There is something maybe that possible. We could do a hybrid where if somebody can't make it, maybe we could get them on a Zoom. How long will we have the Zoom for? The rest of the year, Howard, or?
Yeah, we just paid the bill a couple of months ago.
Okay,
Probably from
so-
probably into like April next year, April or March.
So it'd be a good thing if we could do a hybrid if somebody can't make the meeting because of work related or somebody wants to be on to do a presentation. We could actually.
Or if we want to have a meeting with some of our,
Yeah.
lawyers or
Good
something like
thing. We learned a lot during this pandemic, and most of all, I think what we learned is how a community like us could really stick together and do all the right things, and with working with the county and Pat Ryan and everybody else, Project Resilience, all the vaccines we got in the town, just a remarkable bunch of efforts done on the part of the community itself. So school's doing a great job. We only have one active case so far. I'm sure that'll go. But we have to be still careful and don't let our guard down. If you're not vaccinated, you should wear a mask. And we have the social distancing too still. So it's a little less, it's a lot less than
Now, do we have to wear masks at the meeting or no?
No. Are you vaccinated?
As long as you had your vaccine.
Yeah, I did.
Yep. I think we're all vaccinated. So looking forward to the 12th. Like I said, it's a great community. We all pulled together. Unfortunately, we did have some deaths. We had 7 deaths, unfortunately. And like we'll do the memorial on the 18th, on I think, yeah, the 18 rain date on the 19th. But I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. The absolutely the town people just did a fantastic job. They didn't skip a beat. Every employee didn't skip a beat. We had a couple of hiccups, but we got back on the horse and we rode it out. So kudos to everybody. Great job. So I'm happy that we're going to be back and see each other. And with that said, I took a look at the Cluett Chance Park bathrooms by the playground. Boy, do they need help. There is a dire strait. So I talked to Larry Cavazza. I guess they're tearing out some bathrooms at the school for the new facility. And hopefully he could set some decent ones aside. And also, unfortunately, there was an incident that happened at the new bathroom by the pavilion, which would lead me up to a talk with the chief to see how he's coming with it, was that somebody actually stood on one of the sinks and broke it. And Charlie Majeo is working on getting a new Gerber sink, and he'll hook it up. So unfortunately, that happened.
While we're talking, also, while we're talking about the town park, the stone fence that
Yep.
Dave Zambito put, kids or people are pulling the stones out from the middle of that wall, and sooner or later it's going to come down. I don't know if you're going to put a camera there or somebody's really doing some. They were all over the place the other day. Went up to Bocce.
Yeah. So the board's aware of that, Ed, and Dave's looking at it. So.
Okay.
So
It's not
things
terrible.
I don't know what it is that people were cooped up and now I don't know. I just don't know. We have
To take the time though to pull the stones out of the middle.
I spent some time helping Tom Schroeder pick up garbage the other day. So I think we got to get back to maybe what we were talking about with the cameras down there. So
Yeah.
The chief is actually looking at some quotes. And as soon as we get those quotes, I think we really have to look hard at them to see what we could do as far as vandalism down there. And you think you might have those quotes by next meeting, the 12th, Chief? Or?
I'm hoping so. So the park was an afterthought. I had already made arrangements with D-Ben to come to the station to do a camera estimate to replace the cameras at the station. Then I got involved in a bunch of text messages finding out originally about the wall. So when he came to the station, I brought him up to the park. Since with that, we've had further discussions. I may have to bring him back to the park to look at a system for the playground side. But the other companies didn't have the opportunity to do the park because they had already did the station. Now I made arrangements for them to come back and do the park. So hopefully by the 12th, I should have everything, 3 different companies, 3 systems, 2 for the park, 1 for the station. And then you all decide what it is and how it is you want to do.
I tell you, it amazed me that people took the time to pull it. It must have taken them forever to pull the stones out of the middle of it. It's unbelievable.
Like they're doing a puzzle.
Probably children.
I mean, yeah, but that had to be hard to pull it out. I mean, I'm talking about the middle, not the top stone, right? The middle stones were pulled. It couldn't have been easy to pull them out.
Well, you'd be surprised what kids could do, or grown.
I know that. I had a few.
I would like to think it was some adolescent child or so.
No, we'd hope so. We would hope so. Yeah.
So thank you very much, gentlemen, for that. And the workshop topic, it talked about COVID already. The 2021 summer camp is moving forward. We felt because of the new restrictions that were lifted, I talked to the camp director today. I canceled the tent that we reserved for 5 weeks. It looks like usually the first week is pretty slow because of that one day. I think there's 16 or 20 campers, but then on it looks like it's like in the 30s, 35. So not as much as we expected, but not that bad. So I think all in all, people are very happy that the camp is open. On the Sands Avenue Park report, Howard and Scott and myself have been diligently looking at that. And this morning, when I went, I saw Keith and Lenny and Dave Zambito working on the, I guess you would call it the north side. So they leveled that off, and Lenny did a lot of hand raking and got that ready for the hydro seeding. And when I went back down there today to water the trees with the water bags, it's a good thing I went down there, because once you put the stuff down, the hydro seed, you can't walk on it. I never knew that. So we got all the trees on the south side there, north side there, watered, and then Lenny was in the process of hydro seeding. And it looks really good. It looks like he's getting a lot done. Hopefully, we keep our fingers crossed. Maybe we might get some rain, but we're gonna have to really really look and work on that. So a lot of good work was done down there. The trees look great. Everything looks really great. So thank you all for that. And like Scott said prior to the meeting, that he did get 3 estimates from electricians to put the electric in. Unfortunately, one added a different item, so now he has to go back and make sure everybody's on the same page. So, and that we'll take care of that on the 12th. And
Yep.
I don't think they're being paving. I think John's also looked for another quote for the paving. He has 2 quotes so far. So hopefully we'll get that done. Kudos to Joseph DeSole. The Eagle Scout project was completed. I signed the papers for him for his Eagle project. I just think that gazebo is an amazing piece of work. Everybody's seen it. Hopefully go into the park, sit down on those plastic Adirondack chairs. I would love to put real chairs, but what's happening lately, I think they would be gone like in a night. Unless you kind of chain them to the gazebo. Anyhow, he did a great job. His dad and they worked on it constantly after COVID. So I think it's a great added to our town park. And like I said, we're going to do the in-person meetings. Everybody going to get together again. Okay. I do have one correspondence. And usually this is always not a pleasant one. But it's a letter of resignation dated June 16, 2021. Dear Chief Picosa, I'm informing you that I have been hired off the civil service list as a full-time deputy sheriff for the Ulster County Sheriff's Office. Effective July 1st, 2021, I'll be resigning as a part-time dispatcher. I would like to thank you for the amazing opportunity you have given me. And it was an honor working for the town of Marlborough Police Department. And that's sincerely Donald, is it Yanta or
Donald Yanta.
Yanta. And yeah, so we lose another one, huh, Chief?
Yeah, Donnie was a dispatcher for us. Lloyd sent him to phase 1, phase 2, the Ulster County Community College. And within a week or so of prior to him graduating phase 2, the sheriff's department hired him full time. So Lloyd loses out altogether. We lose a dispatcher. He now becomes a deputy sheriff for all of us in Ulster County.
No,
He's
good
a
for
good
him,
guy.
though. Good for him.
Yep, good for him.
Good for him.
So anybody interested in the job, let me know. We got an opening.
God.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Always have an opening there,
We
Chief.
do. I know it's terrible.
So right now we're at the point of public comments. If anybody has a public comment.
Got a lot of them already.
Yeah, we did. Thank God. Open and transparent.
That's good. Public comments are good.
I just have one question about the kayak fella down at the landing. His signage keeps moving around, and I don't know if he's supposed to have it there or.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
You know, the fellow that's gonna do the kayak rentals?
Yes.
So he has maybe about a, I don't know, 2x2 sign.
Yeah, on Mr.
says-
McGrath's property.
And it keeps on moving around and now there's the sign that's attached to the fence that has the plan for the landing. And now his sign for the kayaks is kind of jammed behind that. And I just, I feel sorry for him, he's trying to get
We're
it going.
trying to promote him. I think he's trying to promote himself. He actually was up at the farm market promoting.
No,
his-
but I'm just saying his sign down at the landing.
I don't. We don't have anything to do with his sign. He puts
Can
it
he
out.
have it there?
Yeah, I don't think he has a problem. It's like almost like it's like a campaign sign, and he's got permission from the owner, and it's not it's nothing big or anything where he has to
No,
get permission.
no, I'm just saying every time I go there, it's been moved and,
We don't have no control.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I could suggest him to keep it in one place if you like.
I think people are just moving it. I feel bad for him, but that's it.
Okay. Any other public comment?
I have one comment.
Yes, sir.
That has to do with the Zoom meetings. I think they have been a benefit to the planning board, to applicants, and as a consultant myself, I see a great advantage to applicants because they can have their professionals at a meeting and not have to worry about their transportation costs and their transportation time. And some of them can actually attend meetings in two places on the same night that may be very far away that they normally could never do. So I think there has been a benefit, and the professionals for the planning board, if they have to travel to the planning board meetings, that is, a time cost to them and an expense. I'm not sure if this requirement is going back to mandatory in-person meetings or not. I haven't heard anything
Yes, it
about
is.
what the planning board is doing, but I would
You have to
certainly
go,
like to
it's-
hear from you.
Yes, you have to go. The planning board meetings are now in person. There's no more Zoom. It's just like Mrs. Land said that she has to go all the way up to Kingston now for her Wednesday county planning board meeting. And tomorrow I'll be going to Kingston for a meeting with Dennis Doyle and on the tip. So everything's back to normal. Everything's not Zoom. To answer your question, James.
Yes, it does answer my question. I think it is unfortunate. Even a mixture would have been preferable to allow the consultants to
I
attend.
understand what you're saying, but right now, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just had a thought talking to Senator Skoufis. I think there might be a bill that he's presented or might even pass where you could have a hybrid type of meeting. I'll have to check on that, but.
I would encourage you to encourage him in trying to get that passed, both for the town and for all the consultants and
Okay.
applicants who have to pay these consultants. Thank you.
You're welcome, James. Thank you. Anything else from the public? Okay, moving right along. I got resolution 62.
Al? Second out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also want to kind of second Mr. Garofalo's sentiments about virtual meetings. Whether or not we have a legislation that mandates it, it's beneficial and inclusive for people who cannot afford, don't have the time, or don't have the vehicles to attend meetings in person. I would like to also encourage all of the committees to keep virtual an option as well as their in-person. So I hope that you all consider that, please.
Thank you very much, Britt. Will do. Anybody else? Okay. Resolution 62 to hold a public hearing on the Cable Vision franchise agreement. And I sent that to the whole board. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following, whereas Cable Vision of Wappinger Fall, Inc. has offered a proposed contract for the renewal of its existing franchise agreement with the town of Marlborough, and therefore be resolved that a public hearing be held in relation to the proposed contract as set forth in the form of notice herein after provided, at which hearing parties and interested citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard. Held at the Town Hall, 21 Milton Turnpike, New York, on July the 12th, 2021, at 7:00 p.m. prevailing time, and that notice of said meeting shall be published in the official newspaper of general circulation in the town of Marlborough by the town clerk at least 10 days before such hearing in the following form. And the form is notice of public hearing. Take notice that town board of town of Marlborough will hold a public hearing at the town hall at 21 Milton Turnpike, Milton, New York, on July 12, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. Prevailing time to consider the proposed contract with Cable Vision or Wappingers Falls, Inc., which will renew the existing franchise agreement between the town of Marlborough and Cable Vision of Wappingers Falls, Inc. Take further notice that copies of the proposed contract will be available for examination at the office of the clerk of the town of Marlborough, 21 Milton Turnpike, New York, 12547, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. on all business days between the date of this notice and the date of public hearing. Take further notice that all persons interested and citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard on said proposal at the time and place for it said. And Colleen Orphan, Town Clerk. And the foregoing resolution was duly put to vote, which resulted as follows.
Supervisor Lanzetta,
Yes?
Councilman Molinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
thank you.
So the next resolution. Resolution 63 to appoint summer camp employees. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. Be it resolved that the following employees be appointed to the it should be 2021. I missed this one. She says 2019. So I need a motion to amend the resolution 63 to say 2021 instead of 2018.
So moved.
Oh, boy.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen. Be it resolved the following employees be appointed to the 2021 summer camp. Camp Director Melanie Anito, Assistant Director Adult Counselors Gail Transalita, Dawn Morocco. I'm going to kill somebody's name. Health Director is Susan Thompson. Adult Counselor Madison Du Bois, Trevor Eckler, Stephen Gyrits. Anybody help me with that one? Roots. Kelly Maggio, Teresa Smith, Senior Counselors Stephen DeAngelis, Emily Eckler, Zachary Edwards, Elisa Jennison, and Stephen, it should be Stephen, right? Mazza, Mazza. I don't know how she gets this. Okay. You counselor, Abigail Schaefer, Ashley Consoli, Ryan Corcoran, Alex Rizowski, Justin Paulo, and Joseph Saccarfero, SCACCIAFERRO. And I apologize for mispronouncing some of these names, but I did my best. And moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
I support every single person on there, but I'm gonna recuse myself because my son is one of the youth counselors.
all right, Councilman Molinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
He
Councilman
said
Mute,
yes.
Howard.
He's muted, but he said yes.
oh, okay.
Sorry.
Supervisor
Yes, yes,
Lanzetta?
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Supervisor- Okay,
yes, by all means. Thank you for everybody with that camp.
thank you.
And so moving forward, we got the adjournment. Alan, you want to take care of that?
Yeah, make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thanks, guys. See you on the 12th in person.
Night,
Take care.
everybody.
Have to
Good night.
save
Good night.